Hello everyone, it is my pleasure to be here to share with you some basic understanding about English for international sales contract. This video is sponsored by ESL Station and I would like to express my great thanks to the Board of Directors of ESL Station. My presentation consists of three parts as you can see on the board here. First one, I would like to talk something very briefly about international sales contract. And then I would like to present some basic points about the speciality of the English for international sales contract. Why is it so special and why everyone needs to learn about it. And finally, I just want to present some basic points about how to learn and master this very difficult and challenging language. So shall we start with the first one? What is international sales contract? So this term will sound very strange to most of the students, except for the student of international business major, because this is one of their subjects. So, however, in our daily life, we will meet a lot of contracts, especially in business and those dealing with international problems or issues. So, just make it briefly, we can understand that contract can be referred to as agreement between the parties on some problems or issue. So a business contract is an agreement between parties on business issue. And next, sales. When we mention sales, it means that we must have at least two parties, the buyer and the seller. So when we say about sale, we mention the relationship about buyer and seller. So the seller would deliver the products to the buyer and the buyer would make payment. So when we mention sale, we mention the relationship between delivery and payment between seller and buyer. And finally, when we mention international, it means that the transaction would take place between representatives from two different nations or of two different nationalities or more. So in conclusion, in general, we can understand that international sales contract refer to the agreement on delivery of products and payment between seller and buyers who have different nationalities or who are from different countries. So, why is it so special and obligatory for people to learn and master the English for international sales contract? Okay, the point is, it is so popular and it affects almost our daily life. And if you want to do business, if you want to make money, and if you want to be successful in the international market today, so you must learn the language for international sales contract. So, what makes it so special? Okay, in my opinion, the special things for international sales contract language is we have 2 points to focus. Okay, first one is the language itself. So the language, I mean English in this case, has something to deal with the legal issue. Or in other words, we say legal English. Okay, or we say English in the legal firms or the law. So basically, this is a kind of what we call the ESP, English for specific purposes, which specially applied in the legal field only. So because this is just for specific purposes, so it is not for the general one that you will see in your daily life. So this is the point that makes it special. Okay? The second thing is that in order to understand fully this one, you must have a basic understanding about the international trade transaction. Okay, for example, when you mention the LC or when you mention a clean bill of lading, we should understand what is it and what means behind the Vietnamese meaning of such terms. So the other thing is the knowledge, okay, on international business transaction. So if you have these 2 things in combination, so you can solve the problem about the English for international sales contract. But however, what I mentioned here is just applicable in theory. And in practice, you need to do it more, learn it more. So let's move to the first one, how to learn and master it. So we will consider this issue from a linguistic perspective only. So what does it mean? When you want to master something relating to ESP, there are two basic factors that you have to know. The first one is about the grammar. And second, you should know about the vocabulary. Okay? So I will present some notes relating to grammar that you should pay attention. So because usually this one is listed in a lot of textbook already. So in the limited time of this video, I just want to illustrate through a point in the example here. Okay, so let's see our first example. So we have a sentence like this. Should any disputes arise between the parties to which no agreement can be reached, such disputes shall be finally settled by arbitration. So this is just one among many examples of international sales contract that you may meet. So what is the special things about grammar that you have to pay attention here? Firstly, in general, you can see the use of complex sentence. So usually there are high possibility that you will meet the complex sentence, or in other cases, the compound complex sentence in the language of international sales contract. As you may see here, a sentence begins with should. Okay, so in other words, it is an inversion form of if. Okay, if clause or conditional sentences. Okay, so we can see this is a complex sentence. And the next point I want to draw your attention to is the one, can you see here? Shall be finally settled. So this clause is written in passive form. Shall be finally settled. So in international sales contract, passive form is used very often. Okay, because they just want to focus the action rather than the subject causing just actions. Okay, so that is my first point about the grammar. The two most important thing that you should pay attention is the use of passive voice and the sentence structure. Besides that, please pay attention to the tense. Okay, for example, the use of the word shall. Okay, as modal verb, right? Beside could or may or must, shall is most oftenly used in the international sales contract. Okay, that is my first point relating to grammar. Okay, so the next point about vocabulary. Okay, so in order to master the vocabulary in the international sales contract language, okay, you should remember that there are at least two kinds of vocabulary to be used. Have a look at the second example. The following definitions shall apply to this agreement and any appendices attached hereto. I have this word underlined just to show that in international sales contract, it is very common for the composer to use the archaic, or what we say, the old tradition words. Okay, so this is a combination between a word which shows the position here or there and a preposition to. So it is very common for you to see this word. For example, you can say here under, okay, or there with, something like that. So in order to understand fully this word, it is very simple in fact. Just separate them and just say here refer to in this document and there refer to in those documents. And the preposition, as you can see, to will go with any words or adjective that is used in this sentence. For example, to go with attached. Okay, so if I change this word into enclosed, okay, not attached anymore, so my writing here will be changed to here with, because the prepositions go with enclosed is with, not to anymore. Okay, so that is the tips for you, because when you meet this word, At first, you would say it's very strange. Okay. However, keep calm and you will find some hints in order to solve this problem. Okay. So just forget about it. Okay. And the second point is the vocabulary about which will connect with the knowledge relating to international business. Okay. You must know some kind of vocabulary about payment, about delivery. For example, some kind of term like LC, letter of credit, okay? Or some payment terms like COD, cash on delivery, or CAD, cash against documents, and other terms which is especially used in the business environment. Okay, so in conclusion, during the limited time of this video, I have just presented to you the basic point relating to the English for international sales contract. Firstly, I introduced the basic definition of international sales contract. Please bear in your mind that this is an agreement between the buyer and seller who come from two different countries, and they discuss something relating to delivery, payment, and other terms. And next one, I talk about the special point of English for international sales contract. The first thing is the language of this contract have some features relating to legal English. And second point, in order to master this one, you should know about the knowledge, okay, relating to international business. And finally, in order to learn and master this kind of language, first you should know about something special of their grammar. Okay, the grammar consists of first, the structure, which is very special and complex. And second, the way that we use, okay, modal verb like shall or must. And thirdly, the way we use passive voice, which is very common in the grammar. And next, for the vocabulary, please remember that we have the combination of the uncommon vocabulary to be used in the language of contract, which we consider old-fashioned. And next one, the specific vocabulary for business environment. So thank you very much for your attention. Hope to see you in further videos. See you. Goodbye.